let's look at it. So we have this link. This link is a reserved link. It takes a name, the destination, and the type of reservation. In order to configure the function that will handle it, I will simply come here and create a function. So the name of the function will be called reserve. Reserve is going to take the name. The next thing to take is destination, DST, and the next thing to take is what? Type, TYPE. That's all it's going to take. You see that the type there is highlighted. Remember, can you see that the type I wrote is highlighted?
Yes.
Python is telling me that's a keyword, so I have to use another word. So I'll go back to my type and put D type. Alright, let's quickly go on. So with all that, okay, instead of me passing it, I'm not doing any calculation, so I'm simply going to remove all this part, and then I'll say that in my printout I will say your order, Mr. Then we'll put the name here, NAME, okay, to the destination, which is DST, and then I'll say trip type, or just trip type. So we'll just put the trip type there as DTYPE. So that's basically how that link will be configured. If you want any other values, you can always add them accordingly. So to print it out, I'll say your reservation. Okay, so to be your reservation, Mr. the name of the person, which will be name, NAME, flight to, then we'll put the destination there as DST, flight to DST, trip type, just say trip type. Trip type is what? Trip type D type. So we're just going to say D type in this place. DTYPE. Is this clear? We're just configuring the output, how it will look like. So does this look right? So that's all it's going to print. Your reservation, Mr. So flight to this destination, trip type this destination. So in this case now, I'm going to save reserve, then I'll go into URLs and save reserve also. So how do we channel it into the link? I'm going to simply change this place to reserve as reserve, and then the name of the person, maybe Alaji, shift Alhaji Yegoda. Then what's the next value there? The name, the destination, Kaduna. Destination is Kaduna. The trip type is one way or return. Let's say return. So all things being equal, let's see. Let me clear my cache using indentation error. I have indentation error. Those of you who have indentation error, look at how I corrected my own. No, so that's the indentation error there. Let's do this and save. Alright, let's try again. Alright, so that's it. Your reservation, Mr. Alaji. Sorry, there's no Mr. So sorry, let me just change that. Your reservation, Mr. or Mrs. or Mr. or Mrs. or any other name you prefer. I'm just laughing because Mr. Alaji. Oh, wow, Mr. Alaji. So your reservation system must be able to cater for this kind of things. So that's it. Your reservation, Mr. Alaji Yeguda. Flight to Kaduna, trip type, that amount. So do we all understand this process? Alright, let's see. The last thing we're going to do today, okay? You have to remember that this method is basically not the, like I said, this is just to show you how links work. Every app is going to have its own link inside. Every link is going to have their own customized link. So how do you take this information into an HTML page? How do we put such information into an HTML page? So for the purpose of this practice, I'm not going to bring in anything from outside. I'm just going to create a simple HTML page to use for this purpose. So for let's use this example first, okay? Since I already have it in the URL. To use this example, the first thing I'll do is I'm going to go into my templates and then I'm going to create a template. Okay, we'll call it test. Control copy, Control V. We'll call it test, T-E-S-T. Alright, I'm going to open this in my Notepad++. Remember I said for the purpose of what? Practice. So I'm not going to import anything. I'm not using any block, I'm not using anything. I'm just going to create my styles. Okay? Are we there? So in my style, I'm going to have simply what they call a container and the elements in the container. So the first one is called contain. So contain is the element, is the main element. So we have a margin to be 0, and then we have padding to be 0 also. That's all. Then I'm going to have contain items. So all the items in the contain are going to be like that. Contain items. Contain dash it ms. Are we there? So for a contain item, in this one we're simply going to have text decoration, text align should be in the center. Should be where? In the center. That's all. So the content, we're going to have color. The color should be light blue. And just give it a font size of what? Maybe 20 pixel. Okay. I think that sorts it out. Contain items. The width of this is going to be 60%. We all remember our CSS, right? Okay. Can we now go ahead? So you have the main div, and then you have the class is equal to contain. Let's remove all the other stuff. So the first thing first is alright, so can we look at this? Are we there? So your data, okay, the data you are going to display, we are going to simply say alright, this is my test.html. Using the reservation system, the following values are the values I will use. So you have the title, then you have the name, okay, then you have the next one is destination, and then the last one is the trip type. Let's call it so. Can we see the variables that we want to address? Maybe we should put amount, the last one as amount. Control copy, Control V. So this is the amount. So let's put it here as trip amount. So this the first one. Let's create the second one. I want to show you how the two of them work together. So the second one is the page where, so let's call this T1. So in this T1, are we looking at it? Instead of return HTTP response, what we're going to return is we're going to return render, okay, comma, the name of our template is what? test.html. That's the template to which we are passing data. The data that we are passing this to is called, we'll just call it DATA. Now we need to create the data. The data is coming through the URL. It could get to the URL through many methods. So in order to create that, we have the first one. We have a DATA, which is a dictionary. So we usually use dictionaries to pass data to the templates. Are we looking at it? So the first thing we have here is called dtitle, and that is going to be, I'll call that your reservation. The second thing that we're going to have here is going to be the name. So in this case, I'm simply going to say name, and the value is what? Name, N-A-M-E. The next value in the dictionary will be the destination. So I'm going to say destination. Destination is going to be what? Hello? Destination is going to be what? DST. DST. Alright? Comma. Lastly, we're going to say that the destination type. So it's going to be type or D type. D type is going to be what? We'll give a colon here, and then we say D type is D type is D type, D type, D type. See, key value pairs. Okay, so this is going to be our data. So we're going to save. Instead of reserve, let me call it, because I changed this, so let me call it reserve 2. So let me save this, and then let's go to my URL and just create reserve underscore 2. So I'll simply just name this reserve underscore 2, so I can preserve the two links. So this is reserve underscore O2. I'm going to try and make it as different as possible because I don't want them to match each other. So both are taking the same thing, but both of them will return separate things. So this test.html will simply contain, and then here, let me just quickly do contain items, control copy. Let's do contain items, control V, sorry, control contain dash items. Let's do this. So let me just change this to reserve underscore O2. I think that's alright. So let me check if we have an indentation. Invalid syntax. Oh, sorry. Alright, let's look at it together. So it's pointing to this place that this, let me show you the error so you can see. It's saying that name is equal to reserve. That's where this error is. But when we come here to the link, we see that where is name is equal to reserve? Here, right? Okay. Let's sort the first one by putting the comma here, because there needs to be a comma there. And this should be reserve O2. Of course, that won't cause an error because it will still just pass all the values to the first one. Let's see. Indentation error. So reserve O2 request blah 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 blah. So let's quickly check that. Oh, it's here. It's here. Oh, see that? Check that. Views.py line 35. Oh, this is it.
It's not supposed to be that.
Yeah, that's that about that. What next? What else now? Nothing. Alright, function update meta. Okay. Return. Oh, sorry. Return render requests, not render requests. Return render requests.
So where did you get this render from?
That's the syntax.
Oh.
The render was actually, the render is the right way to render output. It's always imported at the top there. So you see, your reservation, Alaji Yegoda Kaduna, something is missing there. Sorry, let me just check what's missing. So the title is your reservation. The title, your reservation. Name is received name. Destination is DST. And D type is D type. But let me check what I put here. Oh, sorry, I added some other things there. D type, that's what should be here. So it should be D type. So I can just customize it. Let me say this light blue is not working, so let me just use blue. Then let's say So this is the title. I'll say name, just to format it. Then destination, and then travel type, so those are just the few ones I put. Let me remove the last line there. Let me see. Alright, so that's it. So this is me using an HTML file. In this case, initially before, I used HTTP response. In order to use HTTP response, you just output it to the code. But using HTML now, you can actually put all the data here. Okay? So in this environment, this is the formatting, but in our own formatting, it's going to come from the external CSS. So the data is the views. So the view simply receives the value and enters them into where. So if I want to do something like, if I want to check if it's going to Abuja, the price is so and so. If it's going to Kaduna, the price is so and so. If it's going to Lagos, the price is so and so. I can now include that thinking here. I can simply say that before the here I can say if I can use an if DST is the same thing as Kaduna shift Kaduna. If it's the same thing as Kaduna, then I want the amount to be equal to 25,000. 1, 2, 3. I can also go ahead and say if it is Abuja, if DST is the same thing as Abuja, okay, then I can enter 20,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amount is equal to 20,000. 1, 2, 3. So any other place other than the two, I will now say else amount is equal to 15,000. Any other place is going. So in my data, I will simply pass amount here by saying amount, amount, and then I'll just give it the value amount, amount. So that way I have a conditional render. So we can stop for there. Let me run it. So you see that no price, just the destination. So let's just run that and see. Hopefully I don't have any errors again. So it's still giving me this. So let me include my amount now, so we can see here travel type, and then I'll just say travel type, then I'll just say amount. Okay, so I just come over here, Ctrl V, and say travel amount or amount, amount, and then inside the variable shell I'll put the value amount, amount. Sorry, what's that? Is this sleeping? Okay, sorry. Let me just make that one color red. Style is equal to color, color, let's just say red. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's check what we have so far. Alright, so that's it. So you can see that based on where you are going to calculate how much you are going. Let's check if he's going to Lagos, how much will he get? So we just change the value here to what? Lagos, right? Okay, let's first try Abuja to see if Abuja will catch. Abuja. So the guy is going to Abuja. The price changes to 20,000. Let's assume he's going to Delta. Okay? So if he's going to go to Delta, what's going to happen? 15,000. Sorry, I wrote 1,005. It's supposed to be 15,000. Delta. 1,005. People will travel now. So you refresh 15,000. So based on where you are going, the platform will do a calculation for you. The same way, based on the Bitcoin that you choose, it will give you a value. The same way, based on the kilometers that the rider is supposed to go, it will show you the total value. So you guys must be very tired. I understand it has been a very long, and so let me stop the recording.